potholes are really why I took this course.
Okay. So yeah, potholes is definitely one of the main obstacles for an advanced canyon.
Re-Belay.
Re-Belays or multi-pitch rappels.
Yep.
Redirects. So
Attaching ropes.
the difference between a re-belay and a redirect. Re-belays are switching ropes to a different rope, meaning your rope isn't long enough for the pitch, so you have to use a second rope to finish your way down at a mid-wall anchor. That makes sense? You rappel down to an anchor, switch ropes, and then continue. So the purpose of redirects is because there's an obstacle at the bottom of the rappel that you want to avoid. So there's another anchor mid-wall, pull you sideways and change the area you land in. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Other ways to avoid obstacles are guided rappels. We'll work on those as well. And that's where you set another anchor farther out and basically set kind of a tight high line that you clip yourself to while you're rappelling. And that will carry you away from the wall or away from the hydraulic that might be at the bottom or the pothole or whatever the obstacle may be. It will get you over top of that without ever going into it.
And what's that? But let me do it from your POV.
Sure.
Thank you.
Shadow it so you can actually see what's happening.
Right. So I'm adding the friction.
Just continue wrapping the same way you were, but just kind of bring it down to these other slots. There you go.
From here?
There, and then into there.
Here?
Bring it around to the back still. Keep going around. Not the same way you started. You could probably go from there.
What do you mean go around to the back?
I was just saying to go around.
Oh,
More.
okay. And put right through here. Twist it.
So twist it the other way. See, this is on top. You want that underneath the other strand, so it pins it there. Like
Okay.
that. You got it.
And pull here.
Got it.
Do this for a solid 200 or so.
That would be tough, right?
All right, I've got the general idea.
All right. You can go back
Even
down.
though I feel like I'm really slow.
Honestly, that's pro 6 in general.
What?
That's pro 6 in general. Your twist is backwards.
Okay, TJ, the twist is backwards.
Yeah, that's why it's pulling down here instead of up.
Okay.
All right, and what do I do to go down then?
So slide your foot loop up high enough that you can get your rappel device.
Instead of this way, it goes this way.
Slide my foot loop up.
Well, no, it's high enough now.
Okay.
I wasn't looking.
Ah, voila.
So you just needed the rope.
Putting my harness.
The other one, the official
Fingers there.
one, written by Critter, is this.
Out of the foot loop, it's in my way. Okay. Yeah.
Nope,
this is- I'm
that's not it.
accepted Right. Like I can't even.
It's this.
get
All right. If you can't get your vise, you can just assign in reverse.
That's
Here, pass this through the anchors without dropping it.
passing the webbing through the
my-
anchor.
So you'd be the first person.
First
in this
person,
crew.
yes.
Yes.
And a lot of, because just like any other anchor, these are getting left behind.
Yes.
So
of course.
typically in an actual canyon, if you're not the first one of the season, you'd just be inspecting this to see what it looked like. This is a ridiculous length of webbing. I'm just gonna take some of it up here.
And you're gonna take the time to do a water knot.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to join it somehow.
Yeah.
All right, so on a normal anchor, I'm typically equalizing it kind of straight down like this. But because this is a redirect, it's going to be over here. So you're going to equalize it the direction kind of at a diagonal here,
Okay.
Why?
because that's the direction of pull
Okay.
when your rope's clipped to it.
Okay.
So if I
Yep.
did it here and then I clipped it, it's going to be pulling like this, and this top side's just going to be slack.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So do you see how he's putting the water knot closer to the anchoring point?
Yeah, I'm just getting that knot out of the way. I'm going to come over here, probably about like that, and then do another overhand to isolate those two sides. And sometimes these are single point anchors as well. So sometimes it's
Sure.
just a sling around a single bolt with a non-locking carabiner on it.
So that's called an American death triangle, right?
If I didn't bring them together, it would be. Right now, it's just the anchor.
God, I haven't heard that name.
The American Death Triangle? We can show you that in a bit. I didn't have any non-locking carabiners, so I'm just going to use a locking one. Leave it unlocked. So as I get down here, I'm going to need to clip this above my device, which I've locked off too soon and I can't reach it. So I'm going to come down a little farther. I am still tethered in. But essentially, you're trying to get this. It will now hold me over here. That makes sense?
It does.
Yeah.
So it's completely changed the angle of the rappel.
Yep.
And then from there I can take this off. I'm locked off still here as well. And you could continue to rappel down.
Okay.
So as the second person down, you're going to be rappelling here, and this is going to be in the way. So when it gets to here, you're going to have to unclip it and move it above your device.
Lock off, unclip, move it.
Yes. If you can do it without locking off, you can, but locking off gives you the freedom of movement with both hands.
Okay.
Second person down, you'd be kind of at this point here. So from here, if you can just rappel down and hold yourself and then move this. Just make sure you don't give it slack, but if you'd rather be a little more secure, you could just lock off
Okay.
and do it as well. Locking off is much easier.
Because then you can use both
You can
hands.
use both hands. Second one's about 180, I would say. So use the 200 there, and then the last one's 285. So you use the 3 on that one, and the third or the second 100-footer pulls the first one, right? It's like a crazy math problem. So you have 200 feet of rope attached to the first.
I know,
rappel,
I'm going to draw this. Yeah.
and then that 200 feet is now the pull for the 200-foot rope you set on the second rappel. So now you have 400 feet altogether to pull the 300-foot rope at the end. So rope management is very key in big wall scenarios like that. You don't want things getting tangled up. You don't want them knotted. You want to make sure you have enough rope, that you're not coming off the ends of the rope, first of all. Yeah, we're going to walk through switching ropes at that anchor station. You have to follow it through.
Oh, so then I don't have to follow through. Got it. Makes sense.
Same thing you were going for, but much
It was?
faster.
So figure 8 with a bite.
On a bite, yeah.
And then that will stop.
Maybe. We're going to try.
But we're going to do the other one anyway, so it
We're going to
doesn't
see if
matter.
it'll fit. Like, if you completely let go, we're even going to help it out here. Just to see if it fits, which it
Yeah.
does.
Okay.
So it might snag on something, but it could potentially fit through there. Just folding it over, so I have a bite. I'm doing it really long, so I'm going to fold that in the middle again, so I have 4 strands. And it's just an overhand from there. It's just around and through. Okay.
BFK.
So that's not a normal thing you'd be doing in the canyon because you're usually not reusing a redirect anchor as a Re-Belay anchor.
But you retie it so that it can move.
So it's equalized straight down now
Okay.
instead of off to the side there.
So this time you stop slightly above it.
Yeah, that's just where it happened to stop. this time.
Okay. And you're using a quick link instead of a
Right, because it's
carabiner.
A regular anchor. You're going to be pulling the rope through.
Okay.
And we're not clipping in and out of it. We're just setting the rope and then switching to the rope. All right, so there's our anchor I just came to. It wasn't tied exactly where I wanted it, but it will work. So I'm going to tether into the anchor. It can be up here, it can be in the webbing, as long as you're tethered in somewhere secure. Make sure I lock that. And I'm going to rappel into my tether completely. So I'm hanging just from the tether. Typically I'll stay locked off on this while I set everything else up, just because it gives me an extra contact point. One other thing I did I wanted to mention. So right here,
You tied it.
see that? I tied it and clipped it into the hard point of my harness. I have not had a rope bag break, but if a rope bag did break and you weren't clipped to the rope, you've just lost the rope you need for the next rappel.
Yeah.
So you always want to secure that to something on your way down.
Okay.
All right. Nothing worse than a big old scenario than not having a rope. Okay. Also found these to be fairly handy. If you've seen those before.
Yes, in your shop.
It essentially gives you. So if I clip this here, it gives me 3 points I can clip to now without getting too cluttered. So I can take this rope bag off of me. That up there, I can be tethered into this. They're all full strength loops. So no matter what you need to clip in, you can clip it into that piece there. All right, so that's clipped off. To get it into the anchor, I mean, depending on how nervous I am at the time, I may leave that clipped in for now and just pass a bite through for a second.
Okay.
And then take this apart and finish pulling it through. Again, just make sure you're holding on to it. You don't want to drop this rope. Tie my knot. Pull that through. If I was going to use the whole bag, I could just block this and then deploy the bag. If I'm not going to use the whole bag, then you want to feed just the tail out, right? So in this particular case, I'm just going to feed that down as much as I need to, and then block this so it can't go anywhere.
Are you just doing a clove hitch?
I'm just doing a clove hitch, yeah. If you wanted it releasable, you could do an 8 block.
Okay. Is there a situation where you would want that releasable? Why?
If you can't see the rappel and you don't know if you have enough rope down,
Okay.
or if it's
That
in the flow,
tracks.
or if it's flowing water, and you'd want
Right.
it releasable
right.
again. All right. Just to make sure no one hooks the wrong side, even though the bag is here, I'm still going to safety this off. Just tying a figure 8, and then clipping that in as well. Now, if anyone inadvertently hooked the wrong side of the rope, it's at least attached. So if they grab this for some reason, you're not going to fall immediately.
Okay.
All right?
And then the last person,
Last person would deploy this for the retrieval,
right.
and then just use it how it's set up in there. Then they could pull it from the bottom. They'd have to remove the safety, obviously.
And they'd leave the quick link.
Yeah, the quick link stays just like any other rappel.
Okay.
All right. Any
All right.
questions there? I can come completely out of this.
So you just said make sure you're clipped to something before you unclip.
Yeah, before I unclip this, make sure you're clipped to something else.
Okay.
Always double check and make sure you're securely fastened to something before you take anything else off.
Okay.
So I can come out of that rope and just switch directly to this rope. So at this point, you want to take up as much slack as you can,
Because you have to unhook the tether.
because you have to unhook the tether, yes. And then lock this off too. You don't want to be trying to unhook your tether unless your hand's free. All right, so make sure this is secure before you even look at this.
Okay.
And to get this off, it's easier if you just undo the gate first, rather than trying to stand up and balance and then mess with the gate. So now all I have to do is kind of take my weight off this, unclip that, and then settle back on this other rope here. All right?
Okay. And this is called a Re-Belay.
Yes. Then we're gonna drop this so we can pull it and let you guys set it up.
Okay. Do you just drop the whole bag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take a pack throw. All right.
Get a good position to work from, and then go ahead and lock off your device.
Locked off?
Go ahead and tether yourself into the anchor as well. You can hit that point, you can hit the green rigging plate there, whichever one reaches.
Okay.
Good. And you can either move the rope bag off your hip to the anchor just to get it out of your way, or you can work off your hip.
Okay. Now thread the rope.
Yep. So set up your next rappel. You're down.
So you're using a figure 8.
I am.
Okay.
Would you prefer I used?
I'd prefer you use the block you know.
I can, just for the video, if she wanted me to use a clove, I can do that.
So just any kind of block that you're comfortable tying that you will not mess up.
Okay.
Okay.
Good, you're gonna safety that off to make sure no one hooks the incorrect side. Weird things happen in big wall rappels. People get very stressed. You don't want to leave any room for error. It's actually the tail of the rope that goes into the bag. I want you to tie a figure 8 and clip that directly into the anchor.
Okay.
That way it can't go anywhere if they hook the wrong side inadvertently.
Okay. Okay.
Double check your tether, make sure it's secure before you switch to the other rope. You're going to rappel down into the tether until it's tight. Which is also testing the tether itself. Got a road runner down here.
I know. He thinks we have food for him.
Okay, I'm off the initial rope.
Just flip that out of your way. Just pull it around your back. There you go. And then take up as much slack as you can, and then tie off.
All right. Tied off.
Okay, once you're positive that's secure, then you can go ahead and undo your tether.
Should I be working in the bag at all? Should we be taking the bag down?
You can do, yeah.
Do that before or after
Before
the
you
tether?
untether, just go ahead and get the bag ready.
Okay. Ready for the rope?
Yep.
Rope.
Make sure you remove the safety from the rope as well. Oh, you already did. You
Yep.
see it.
Good reminder. Thank you.
So before you untie that, get rid of that knot in the other carabiner as well. Those are just potential snag points on the rope retrieval.
If you're the last person, you would get rid of it.
Yes, if you're not, you would leave it all in place.
Yeah.